Welcome gentlemen to Cheating Wives Stories and Stories of Revenge. I use the robot voice due to an injury that took out my voice, but my heart is in every word. Guys, if you are currently going through the heartbreak, know you're not alone and these stories can help you. Marriage is a bad investment. What is the most valuable thing a human being can have? I mean, this thing is priceless. Is it trust? Nope. It's peace of mind. A cheating wife destroys it with a heartbreak. Peace of mind is valuable because it's rare, because we are always worried about something. Relationships are peace of mind's kryptonite. Cheating is in a sense emotional murder, as it changes you and you lose a part of you as a person. Let's get to this story. It's a really sad one to listen to, as even with the robot voice you can still feel his hurt. Cheat on me? Enjoy your new life. So first off, let me tell you, this is a throwaway account. All the names and other stuff are changed because of privacy. Also, this is not my story. This happened to a friend of a friend. Also LTL, FTP, and forgive my formatting. I am on mobile. DLDR on bottom. If this post doesn't qualify for pro revenge, let me know. To the story. Me and my friends sometimes hang out with a guy we will call Mark. Now, Mark is in his 40s, happily married to a woman. They have 2 kids in their teens. I will tell this story as accurately as possible from what Mark told us. As you all know, married life can many times get boring with 9-to-5 jobs, mundane life in a small-time village. Kids are growing up, so you don't have to look after them 24/7 anymore. So you do what you can to make life interesting. You get a dog, start some hobbies, etc., etc. Or so at least Mark thought. He also thought that his happy little life would last forever. Wrong. Mark found out through the grapevine that while he was playing sports, being at work, trying to break the boring life they were having, his wife, let's call her Mandy, was attending to some hobbies of her own. Hobbies that included getting sweaty and real passionate with another man from a few towns over. At first the rumors didn't bother him, they were rumors after all. But something in Mandy's behavior started to change. No more funny time with Mark, she started to get distant. No more talking, just yelling, being annoyed, etc., etc. It went on for a few months. This struck Mark as off, and one time after we were done playing soccer, he asked us what to do. We came up with several advice, like confronting her. But Mark didn't want to ruin his marriage over some mood swings and a rumor. So he did what every sane man would do, /s. He set up cameras all through the house. And I am talking high quality stuff here. He had cameras in the bathroom, living room, their bedroom, basically everywhere, but the room of his children. He updated us on his new hobby and his setup, and things cooled off for a few weeks. After a few weeks after soccer time, we went out for a few beers. Mark wasn't quite himself, so we inquired what was wrong. He told us that he, after several nights of reviving tape, found out that Mandy indeed was cheating on him. He was furious. They were married 20+ years, they were high school sweethearts with 2 boys, and she betrayed him. Now comes the revenge part. He didn't confront her right ahead. Mark formulated a plan. Living only a few towns over, he had no problem getting the guy's phone number. Now you all know those pesky advertising companies who call you to get you to buy products, right? Mark pretended to be one and called the guy with the pretense he was selling him some body cleansing pills and other crap. He knew the guy was overweight, and being quite a smooth talker, he didn't have much problem getting him hooked. He got the guy's first and last name, which he already knew, his address, SSN, job address, and some other stuff that doesn't really matter to the story. He told the guy he was in a ballot for different prizes from the company he was working for, and he would stay in touch in case the guy won anything. After that, came part 2. While Mandy was at work on a Friday, he packed all the stuff she owned, clothes, jewelry, collectibles, and other stuff into their family car. They have a VW Touran, so everything she had easily fit in. When Mandy came home from work, he told her they were going on a trip. At first she was against it, but again the smooth talking convinced her to roll over pretty quick, and she got in the van with him. Before that, he took the boys to one of our friend's house. They weren't 18 yet, and he is a responsible father, and off they went. Where did they go, you ask? Remember how he called the guy Mandy was cheating with? I think you know the answer. Sadly, or very hilariously, Mandy had no clue. He took her, all of her belongings, to the guy's address and called him on the way, telling him to come outside. He said he won the first prize and he was on his way to give it to him personally. Mandy still had no clue. She thought he was just pranking one of his friends. I believe you realized by now that she isn't the brightest one in this world. Imagine her and Guy's face when he rolled into the parking spot of Guy's house. He stepped out of the car, shook the guy's hand, and told him, "Here's your prize, sir. I believe you know what it is." Took one last look at Mandy's white face, and walked off. He got custody of both kids since he was better off than her. Also told the judge she was cheating and that's why he was divorcing her. This all happened last year, and as far as we know, The guy was an A-grade a-hole and she left him soon after that. After a few beatings and some trips to the ER/police station, Mark got over her after some time and a lot of alcohol. But he and his boys are doing great. They were both big enough to realize their mom was at fault, and still barely talk to her when they go to visit. She tried to return into Mark's life on a few occasions, but he did the smart thing, told her to F right off. He told us this story after we went out for a few beers after soccer again. I was laughing so hard imagining the whole thing I had to go to the bathroom. Otherwise I would have peed myself. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as we did. DLDR, wife cheats on husband, he finds a creative way to get rid of her. Edit, it's not ISSN. We are not from USA, since many people got hung up on it. It's a tax number and I assume he asked for it to sound more believable. Edit 2. Fixed some spelling errors. A lot of people are reading a lot into every detail how I presented Mark's story, for instance how he got all of her stuff into one car. Well, of course he couldn't, and maybe he got some movers afterwards. Just imagine the van being packed with stuff for a trip. Whatever floats your boat. I said I am writing this from memory so some things may not add up to your careful eyes. Be warned. I also wasn't at the court hearing for custody, but the kids live with him and they visit the mother every other weekend. I asked them how it is and they said it's pretty petty between her trying to get their approval and trying to convince them she was not at fault. They are 16 and 17 years old now, so I believed them. I guess I am sorry for doing that. Lastly, this story is fake just because he got the rights to the kids. I know how things are in the USA, but as far as I know judges here take into account everything. They rather give them to the person who is more equipped to take care of them. That includes salary, where they live, how they act in court. Get off your USA high horse since not all governments are female-centered and corrupt. Plot twist, this is all an advertisement for the VW Touran. Illegal eviction and he still gets custody? I think this is imaginary revenge. I'm not the baby daddy, this happened to me over the course of a few years. This is a throwaway, and the story may turn out longer than I thought. The backstory. I have some buddies at work that like to go out with their SOs on double dates sometimes. I was invited on several occasions, but let them know I'm not currently dating. So what do? They get me a date, of course. It's a co-worker of buddies, so we'll call her P. P was a very shy, quiet girl from a family that wasn't too strict, or super religious. She seemed out of place at first, but looking back I think she fit in with the crowd more than she let on. I won't give the SOs or buddies labels, because they are not relevant for most of the story, but they are important for how she and I met, and one or two other occasions. So as three couples went out, we hit it off, and become fast friends drinking the night away and I end up kissing her and paying for a taxi to take her home. The scare. 6 months later me and P are living together, she moved in with me, and we are great together. We don't fight, and if we do it's something silly that blows over seconds after it begins. One night after we had done the deed I looked down and noticed my condom broke. Panic mode engaged. I start freaking out and tell her what happened. She immediately calms me down and says she's on BC. I get relieved, but then relief turns to surprise. She never mentioned this to me before, did she? She passes it off as something she mentioned to me, but I was busy with Fallout New Vegas at the time. Yeah, this was around when that game came out, so I probably didn't notice her say anything. Again, looking back, this should have been a red flag. I chalked it up to extra precautions on her part and felt really good about how well we worked together. She was being responsible for both our sake. BC along with condoms can only make things extra safe, right? Nope. She gets sick a week later complaining that she is always in the bathroom, and can't hold food down. Yeah, you know where this is going. The P stand for pregnant. Now, I am usually a pretty calm guy, but man oh man was I flipping my crap. Not at her, mind you. I make pretty good money, enough for her to only work part-time, and go to school. I don't go to school, I worked, and still do, but in a much higher position, in a trade career which I won't name for anonymity's sake. Babies changed things though. That meant she would have to stop school, stay home for several months, and then full-time job. I wasn't worried about me, but her. I can manage, but she wanted to finish school and be stable enough so that if we ever decided to have kids it wouldn't be in this kind of situation. Well, she ends up getting an abortion. Begs me not to tell her parents, who again are not super religious, but this is a big negative to them. It took months of her talking to them and me courting her to let us live together. She and I were both 21 at this time. So of course I wasn't going to say anything. I was almost shocked at her decision. That's right, hers. I hoped she would get one for her sake, and mine in all honesty. But I would have stayed and raised that child with her through hard times because I loved her. For about 4 months, we barely talked. I thought things were over. But then one night everything just magically went back to normal. I thought yes we are okay again. This was also a red flag, but in my excitement, I don't think I realized it. Now, having a big scare like that, and knowing she was on BC led me to the decision some of you may or may not cringe at. Vasectomy. I had one. Now, I went in for the consult with my primary care doctor and was referred to where I had it done. A week of ice and paid vacation. Now, I know what you are thinking, and I saved some juice for later just in case. And although I should have, I didn't tell P. Now, I know that you're thinking WTF, but honestly, she was on break at the time visiting family. I wanted to wait and let her know when she got home and not discuss it when her parents are around. Wasn't sure how they would react if they overheard. I'm sure you can see how much her family opinion matters, and that will come up later too. I was back at work on night duty and business picked up fast. I had no time to even text or call her letting her know I needed to talk to her about something important. By the time she got home we both got so busy that I didn't even mention it. This may seem odd since it's a major game changer for a relationship, but I was also a young man whose life was and still is mostly full of constant go 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 work work work. Crap just vanishes to the cold storage sometimes. The heartbreak. Fast forward 2.5 years. I was promoted a few times. Was high off life, loved my so, and we were thinking about getting married when she finished school. By this point our relationship had progressed enough that we no longer used BC pills or condoms. Now, she said she got an IUD to prevent pregnancy. I thought that was odd at first, thinking about how I was snipped. Oh well, maybe she just wanted to be extra sure. Well, not so much. About midway through August 2014 and she gets sick again. This time we have no idea what she could have. I rush her to the ER, and become that guy who took his SO to the hospital, to find out she is pregnant. Now, the first thing most of you guys probably think I did was scream "F you or cheater." Nope. I acted just as surprised as she did, told her it's fine, we can get through this and I'm with her 100%. The truth. Now state laws differ, and your results may vary, but here, unless the father signs a birth certificate himself in person, it doesn't count. I made sure, because the first thing I did after getting some time alone from her was see my company's attorney for a consult. He recommended me a good person to seek legal counsel in paternal matters. A week and a half or so later I meet him and make sure if I have undeniable proof that I'm not the father, I would have no responsibility for the baby, or P according to our state laws. So I had my assurances, and as far as she knew, it was probably mine, right? After all, we were not using any BC at all, none. Turns out she had scheduled the appointment, had it put in, but was removed because of complications that caused pain and swelling. This I was not informed of. Now, normally I leave personal belongings alone. I trusted her, and did not want to be the overbearing SO that looks at your crap by accident. We both had our own phones, PCs and tablets, so she didn't suspect a thing when I searched through literally, no joke guys, hundreds of emails of her back and forth setting updates, times, and prices. That's right, she was freaking for cash, or so I thought. Turns out, she was actually freaking for free, and selling meds that she stole from patients. The abortion she got was not the first. Oh, did I mention, she was in school to become an RN. She would sneak meds any way she could. She would take them from old people, young people, cancer patients. She was a sneaky effer too. She hid all of this from me, and her teachers, as well as her parents. Her biggest supply was using people she had previously screwed/sold to. She would have them get hurt, or help them get hurt, and then get them prescribed pain pills. The revenge. I hope you stuck it out, and I hope this belongs here. For the entire time of her pregnancy, I said nothing to her, her parents, her friends, her teachers. She was close to graduating, and close to being a mom. Everything was so happy for her. Everything was going great. Well, I got an apartment and paid rent for it secretly. The place we lived was in her parents' name. Reason being, at a moment's notice they wanted to be able to kick me out for wronging their daughter. This turned out to be an amazing blessing. Started selling my stuff to put into a fund for the baby, but was really moving it to my new place. She thought I was crazy when I sold my gaming rig, laptop, and Xbox. I said, "It's all for us, baby." Now, this next part was risky, but I had no choice. I needed some help. I talked to the buddy who got me with her to begin with. They will be B, and so B had left the company I worked for, so this would not negatively affect him in any way. I needed more info on P's part-time job so that I could get back at her. Essa was her boss, and she was exactly the same to them on the outside as she was to everyone else. To this day, I kinda admire her ninja ability, but it's also why I have no regrets or guilt. I told them everything, showed them everything. B and Essa were shocked, sad, sorry for me, sorry for her, then freaking furious with her. How dare she manipulate them like this? Essa stated things go missing from the workplace, cash drawers short, but P is always covered some kind of way. She had been framing people, and was just very careful and calculated in her plans. SO said she in all honesty never looked real hard at her either, her facade had everyone fooled. Well, lucky for me, SO said in P's maternity leave, security cameras were replaced, and better quality. We made our plan then. In comes the week that she is due. She is wheeled into the hospital and stays for 3 nights before she births him. I have no problems with the child, as you will soon find out, but at the time he was a symbol of misplaced trust, and a broken heart. They have to take the baby away after a few minutes. He has jaundice and although he seems fine want to make double sure, she reluctantly lets him go. P. What should we name our son? I tell you readers, I must have looked like the cat from Alice. I sure felt like I was. Our? You mean your? What color she had left drains. And she stammers to speak before I put my hand up and tell her. I got a snipped 6 months after we started dating. Her face almost seems to cave in. That confirms for me the baby is only your baby. Not ours, baby. But yours, and yours alone. Alone. Tears. Nothing, but tears. I told her that she was never to speak to me again, and walked out. I told the medical staff that under no circumstances was my name to be on that certificate. I was a concerned former boyfriend that she cheated on, and she was a junkie. Lab reports on the cord blood unfortunately later showed this to be true, but the baby was fine, and that I was only here to make sure her baby was alright. I was not to be contacted, and if she says I'm her boyfriend don't believe her. If I needed to prove that to them I would. I left, packed my crap, and left to my new apartment. Pro revenge. I know what you're thinking. That was not really that harsh at all. I didn't think so either. I waited until she was back at home. I left my keys, and $400 in an envelope at her place so that she had money when she was out, and also to bait her. I knew that she would either A. Buy some more pills. B. Try and sell her busted cooter. C. Maybe just maybe get her crap together and fix herself. D. Cry to mommy, work, and school. I'll take A, B, and D for $400 Alex. That's right. She did all three. Now, I know at this point I'm okay on the work front. I'm also okay on the parent situation. The moment she was released her parents picked her up because I wasn't there. She called them, complained, told them everything. I was going to be thrown out, but what's this? I'm not there. She was probably upset she didn't get the joy of kicking me to the curb. Instead there was the envelope for her with $400 and the keys. I don't know what went through her head, but she was already back into her normal routine before long. She must have thought I skipped town completely. Calling work leads to a not here they were informed. Asking SO leads to B hasn't heard from him. She thought she got off the hook, with one baby, and nothing else. A while later she gets fired. Security footage shows her manipulating drawers and framing other employees. She tells her parents it wasn't her. They believe her. Next, her school gets a big package from an anonymous source letting them know she was recently fired for stealing and drug use. Now, I am not sure how she got through school and the hospital without the drugs in her system popping a red flag. I know they tested the cord blood from the baby, and I specifically stated she was a junkie. I never dug into it, probably should have. Her school has zero tolerance policy against drug use. The package also contained the emails, as well as messages to and from buyers, sellers, and anyone else she did shady crap with. Did I mention, the hospital she worked at also got a package? And the police, her parents disowned her, fired, expelled, and CPA was on her case. To wrap it up, she lost everything, including the baby. He's fine now though. His real dad was found. She basically went back and looked for anyone that could have possibly been the father at that point in time. Kinda impressive considering. The guy was 29, call him D, had been divorced, and was lonely. I understand. He had a great house and income, so he was given custody after a paternity test. Best part? The other couple we were with on the first date? She screwed that guy. That's right. He actually still at my company too. I remember when he went through the divorce. I didn't talk to him much, so I had no idea he banged her. It only took one time. She never told anyone she met for sex she was in a relationship. He had no idea we were dating. He didn't talk with me enough, and I was in a different part of the workplace at that point. So, in the end, she has no home, no friends, no job, no career, a rap sheet, and now her kid is with his dad and she gets zero visiting. I'm single. Still hang out with her parents, so, and D, have my job, my apartment, and best of all, I'm not the baby daddy. Edit bold was everywhere, writing program messed me up. So you forgot to tell her about the vasectomy. 2.5 years later you've progressed to the point of not using condoms or birth control pills. In all that time and progressing in your birth control methods, the vasectomy never gets mentioned? She wants to get an IUD, you don't at least discuss the vasectomy? Something sounds weird to me.